a lot of it is you developing skills.
I would have never imagined it. But it just goes to show sometimes we do not know our full journey and how just trusting a process and being connected to the right people at the right time can position you for better.
Yes, you can fail 3, 4, 5 times, and the fifth, it becomes a success.
It is never too late to make a comeback. That's what I learned.
4 different conversations with 4 different persons in varying industries, from banking to personal finance to a student who got the 3rd highest grades in the region in 2022. Here is what they all interestingly had to share on the power of networking and never giving up. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast, The Real World Gap: What School Did Not Teach Us. I am your host, Danielle Pinder, and founder of The Future Frenchie.
I don't think we have like a meaningful, honest discussion about what it actually takes to get a job, because if we did, I think we would find that most of the people that do have a job do not have any clue how they got it, and the other people that do don't want to tell you because it's really just a friend or an aunt or that knows somebody that knows somebody. Yeah, people say all the time it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I would add another one to that. I feel it's also the reputation. I feel the reason why networking is so powerful boils down to people being able to know you before they put you in a position. So if you are known for, let's say, speaking eloquently, it's really easy for somebody to be like, I know this person, they can fit this role really well. So we kind of cry down. This is the other end of, I'm trying to play both devil advocate here, this other end of the spectrum, because we kind of cry down what's called nepotism. But at the end of the day, it's essentially a way of, let me say that there is a benevolent rich person in the society, and they're like all good, not a evil hair on their body, etc., etc. That person, when they put someone in place to do a particular job, their reputation as a leader, as a competent person, is still going to be attached to that person that they put in place, even if that person was put in place by someone that's under them. So at some level, you need to be able to vet and ensure that the people that you're putting in place are able to do the job, able to perform in a way that reflects your ideals properly. So that often will look like, I know this person, and I know this person mother, and I know this person mother don't play about certain things. So more likely, offspring of this person probably have the same values, and then competent, that them putting them in place could help me get a solid, more connected position with the mother as well. So it benefits me to do this thing. And then the other side of it is like, if I had this person has a good reputation and this person is known for speaking eloquently, then when they put them in place of, like, I don't know, yeah, like a news anchor, right? As a new anchor, they could read, they could speak well, let them have the good. I will get a certain amount of competency points for having the know-how having the network to get the person, and also get the competency points when they do well. So a lot of it is you developing skills and putting yourself in positions for those skills to be seen and valued by people that are able to pull levers.
What made you want to go into banking?
No, I can tell you the story about how I got into banking. It was never my life, and then when I look back at my journey, nothing was planned. So let me explain, right? I was working at a law firm for 2.5 years. And I got to a point where I just needed something different, because something you work in a job and it becomes routine, and it no longer challenges you. And I know I needed more, because I wanted more, and my salary at the time that wasn't allowing me to get this more. And I remember my coworker, she knew someone that worked at the bank, and she said to me that there were vacancies for positions. I never heard about the bank in my life before the conversation. And she said, no, send her my CV, which I did. And she sent it on. And when I was called for an interview, and I remember it, as I said, I remembered it like yesterday. Right? So I would have went to the interview. I would have first went to Central Bank, because the bank at that time was based on the 5th floor at the Central Bank. They had other locations too, but the operations department were at the Central Bank. And because the Central Bank has tenants, and this is just to let the person know the Central Bank also has tenants there in the building. So when I went to the interview, I remember just being in the lobby and I was telling myself, is this really going on? Right? Am I here? Because I would have never envisioned in a million years that I would be in banking, because I knew nothing about banking. When I say knew nothing, there are some people who would have taken the track to do banking and finance. And I mean, I would have done international business management. My background really was strong in regards to administration, but within my degrees, I still had financial management and these different things that were still courses, but never anything particularly doing with to say it was strictly banking. But I remember being in that lobby, and when I went upstairs, the conversation I would have had with my then boss, how, it was a learning type of role. So it was something that I could have got into and learn on the job. I remember him telling me, Marcy, wanting to become the go-to person when it comes to operations in Barbados, because this bank is a bank that is worldly known, is a renowned, I will call the name is Citibank, and they're known globally in 160 countries. So when the opportunity came, I worked, as I said, in operations, and it was actually a position that was created. So it was not something that was already in process. It was a created position. So it would have allowed me to learn while building out this particular function. And I was there for 10 years, and I would have grown by leaps and bounds. And what my boss told me back then about becoming that go-to person, I became that person. Whereas that I was lending support to Trinidad and Tobago, I was lending support to Bahamas, I was lending support to, interacting with teams in Mexico. So I literally then became that go-to person or link within the Barbados branch in regards to operations. So that was my entry into banking. But if you ask the child, the teenager, or that young person, whether or not she would have ended up in banking, the answer would have been no. I would have never envisioned it. But it just goes to show sometimes we do not know our full journey, and how just trusting a process and being connected to the right people at the right time can position you for better and put you in positions that you can really and truly have impact and to do great things.
Oh yeah, I agree. Another question would be, in that list of potential careers, and that was in the test, did you see banking or something related to that?
I had a scroll right because I had like 106. It was a very long.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, but what it was said though, there were some things in there dealing with financials, and it made sense, right? So when I look back at my life, like numbers really played a role.
Our young people can't allow failure to be a deterrent, because yes, you can fail 3, 4, 5 times, and the fifth it becomes a success. We cannot allow failure, and people are afraid to fail, and that is why they don't go to business. We cannot allow failure to be the deterrent or that factor that keeps us crippled and not allow us to fly and so become what God has intended us to be and to do.
It's so true. I think even for like me, I found that I have allowed failure in business and also personally to honestly hinder me from trying again. And then it's like, and then you also kind of like have like these what ifs in your head, or what if this happened, or what if this happened, and all that. But it's like you're not going to know if you don't try. One, and also two, I feel as if it's like school has always been about like getting good grades and all of that. That like any single time you fail, you feel as if it's like it's the end of the world, or when it's not. Yeah. So
negatives that have been attached to failing and getting a C as opposed to a A. I've always said to people that mistakes are to be learned from. Embrace them, embrace the mistakes, learn from them, move on. Because once you have learned a lesson, you have learned something, you will not make that same mistake again. And each time you do it, you get better at it, right? And so I encourage people, especially young people, to go for it, have an idea, run with it.
Mhm. That's true.
I've seen a lot of businesses start up in COVID.
Mm,
You understand me?
mm,
Profitable businesses today,
mhm.
but they started because they saw a need.
Oh yeah.
They run with it.
Yeah.
And today we have big businesses because they saw that need and run with it. That's what we want our young people to do today.
It is never too late to make a comeback. That's what I learned. There have been a lot of times where I've just been like just simply behind on work, or like maybe I was just like I went out too much, or like I went to one event over and what I should have already done, or I slept too much, or maybe I missed a lecture and I had to make up for it. It is never too late to make a comeback. You could not go to class for the entire semester and still pull through. You could not miss class. You can miss class for like a month. You can still pull through. You could let me see what else you could do. You could have like a fallout with one of your group mates, like your group partners for like a project, and you would still pull through. You could let's see what else you could fail. You could like a project could blow up in your face and you could still be fine. I feel as though the whole idea about it is that you need to recognize that you can't go back to the past and change what's already done, and knowing that you can go on to step B, which is to just keep going forward. Like maybe you might be a bit delayed, but you can still get it done. I think that's the most important part. Like, okay, cool. If you study the 2 nights before an exam, can you really expect to get an A? But if you can still pull through with a B, you're like, oh, not all hope is lost. You can't just see life as only get an A or an F. No, you can get a B, you can get a C, you can get an A minus, you get B plus, something of that nature. You can always still pull through, and it might not be the result you wanted, but sometimes it can just be the result you need to inspire you to make further change.
Yeah. That is true.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you also want access to the test that the second guest was referring to, enroll your child in our program, Maths Made Easy. The link is in the description bar below. See you in the next video.